No intro, straight into it. What's the point considering the matches we just saw? This is Euro Daily. And now we have a new contender for Game of the Tournament, don't we? Two, actually. But my goodness, was this ever an amazing one to watch. Let's get into it. First off, Croatia was without Ivan Perisic, which was a shame for them, of course, given how big of an impact he has had throughout this tournament for Croatia. He and Modric at times driving Croatia forward, while in Spain's camp, they were pretty much all good as far as injuries and suspensions. And for this one, they fielded Morata, Sarabia, and Torres. I know you're going to be very curious who Enrique went with for the attack. And they looked great in the early exchanges, and they really should have scored as well. Morata missed a glorious chance as he had as close to a free header as you can get at the back post. And I mean, with him usually being so strong when it comes to headers, it was wayward. For him at least, and came off of Vida. Wasn't even heading toward goal, but that wasn't nearly as bad as what Unai Simon pulled off later. With Pedri playing a back pass to Unai Simon, the ball bounced over the keeper's foot and rolled into the goal. I mean, until this point, Croatia had offered absolutely nothing going forward. Spain looked assured and in control of the game, but the own goal threw them for a loop for about 10-15 minutes or so. But shortly after that, Pedri played a wonderfully threaded ball through to Koke, but just as he did against Sweden, he was unable to convert his fantastic chance. That's not what he's on the pitch to do, score goals. So he gets a bit of leniency, but it did not look good. Thankfully for Enrique, they were able to get an equalizer before halftime, with Sarabia scoring for the second match running, and in some ways justifying his inclusion in the squad. He was one of the guys that people pointed to as a bit of a head scratcher when compared to someone such as Iago Aspas. But 2 goals in 2 matches now for him at the tournament? I mean, that's not too bad at all, is it? That's a better return than a lot of players out there. Big players. The second half was a madhouse, man, as Azpilicueta justifying his selection once again as he scored after 57 minutes to put Spain ahead, and nearly 20 minutes later, Ferran Torres was able to make it 3-1 to take his tally to a goal and an assist in this match. 2 goals in the tournament thus far, for him as well. Really looks like Enrique has found his starting attackers, doesn't it? 2 matches in a row now that Spain have found their scoring touch, Torres and Sarabia especially looking dangerous, while Morata's impact felt in many ways. Not just in finishing, or lack thereof at times, he makes his presence known. At 3-1, you would expect Spain to be able to just see this out, but you have to give a ton of credit to Dalic and Croatia. Dalic in particular for both of his substitutions, having a massive impact, so massive that Croatia was able to bring it back to 3-3 in the final few minutes of this game. First, there was Mislav Orsic, the man who made a name for himself after knocking Tottenham out of the Europa League with a hat-trick. He brought it back to 3-2 Spain in the 85th minute, and another substitute, Mario Pasalic, equalized in stoppage time 3-3 after the initial 90. More Atalanta propaganda, as that is now 5 scorers from Atalanta in this tournament, the 4th team in football history to have 5 goal scorers in a European Championship. And while they did incredibly well to push the match to extra time, and they had a decent chance early in extra time, Spain controlled the match well from there on out. And wouldn't you know it, Morata took down a cross well to step around the defender and smash the ball into the goal. Fantastic from Morata. What a time to find his finishing boots. Happy for him, man. His family was getting death threats from some idiots out there because of his poor finishing. Inexcusable stuff from those idiots. And so hopefully that will shut them up for good. Oyarzabal made it a 2-goal advantage once again for Spain, and at that point, in that second half of extra time, the Croatians looked completely gassed out and defeated, laboring to keep up with the Spanish attackers. They honestly could have had more goals, with Olmo coming close as well, but having his strike hit the Croatian post. Great fight from Croatia, but they eventually fall 5-3 to Spain, a Spanish side that is showing some of their scoring form from the Nations League and qualifying. A Spanish side that actually beat Croatia 6-0 not long ago, and while they struggled early, they're looking like a threat in this tournament again. I think the one cause for concern would be that back line for Spain, as they looked a bit disorganized in that 10 minutes or so of regulation. Could just be a blip, but didn't look too great with Pau Torres and co out there. Much better with Garcia and Laporte partnering each other. So with the injuries that France had, Deschamps went with a back 3 of Varane, Lenglet, and Kimpembe with Pavard and Rabiot as wingbacks. I mean, just ask Barca fans how they think Lenglet would do in the middle of a back 3. And I mean, the answer was provided just 15 minutes in. With Switzerland going with her favorite formation, back three, with the fantastic Steven Zuber as the left wing back, he got his 4th assist of this Euro as he floated a ball in for Seferovic, and the Swiss striker made it 2 goals in 2 matches after misfiring for the first 2. Great header, great grab by Lenglet. Wow. Where'd they teach that sort of defending technique? The French looked truly awful with that back three, it's gotta be said. As good as Zuber and Seferovic were for that goal, and as good as Xhaka was in the midfield, the French look so fragile at the back, as if Mbolo or anyone else could cut through them at will. And as Julien Laurent wrote, quote, "The difference so far between a team used to playing with a back three, has worked on it and has the players for it, and a team that has none of that." Scathing words. But it was completely true. To make a change at this point in the tournament is a total Pep Guardiola move, and it never works out for him, does it? And it wasn't working out for Deschamps either, so it was no surprise that they switched back to a back four in the second half with Coman replacing Lenglet. I wouldn't call this a masterstroke from Deschamps, as he was defaulting to France's usual shape and what they know best, but still, to not be stubborn and for acknowledging the mistake he made and taking action to fix it quickly, I mean, we can absolutely praise him for that. Now, it looked as if the Swiss would double their lead when Zubar was taken out and the Argentinian referee awarded a penalty. Benzema provided some intel to Lloris, and it proved to be vital. Diving low to his right, Lloris made a great save to keep it at just 1-0 to the Swiss, and that absolutely revitalized the French. They were faster and more incisive with their passing. The movement off the ball was much better, and on top of that, you could see that the Swiss deflated. And so after providing the intel to Lloris, Benzema provided us with a stunning goal. The pass was behind him from Mbappe, but that didn't matter. Insane touch from Benzema, and then he dinked it past the keeper. Did he mean it with that first touch? Maybe not, but we'll assume he did, and with the ability he has shown throughout his career, with the pedigree he has, would you doubt him? He wasn't done there though. As I mentioned earlier, the French looked way better going forward, far more fluid, and a great move sprung Griezmann through, and while his attempted chip was partially slapped away by Sommer, Benzema was at the back post to head it home. Then Pogba took center stage and hit a disgusting strike that curled into the top corner from 1-0 down to 3-1 up. Amazing stuff from France at that point. Clearly, the Euro 2020 script writers were a bit lazy, and we love them for it, man. Massive credit to Switzerland, who just like Croatia went 1-0 up in this game, only to go 3-1 down, and yet they still were able to recover and pull it back to 3-3. An insane day of football. That's beyond analysis, really. As the common saying goes, no defending, just vibes. That was the name of the day. 12 goals scored in the first 90 minutes in each, if you combine the two games. I mean, what a day. I mean, the goals from Seferovic and Gavranovic, incredible header from Sef, yet again. As Miguel de Mod said, he cannot score against Ferenc in the Portuguese league, but he scored a lovely brace against France. Gavranovic, I mean, he turned Kimpembe inside out and literally left the man on his knees before rifling it low past Lloris. Redemption for his equalizer that was disallowed earlier for a narrow offside. In extra time, it was still a bit stretched, and bar an acrobatic save by Sommer, things had cooled off a bit in comparison to the searing 5-goal second half. I mean, Mbappe absolutely should have scored or squared it in the 110th minute when Pogba played him through, but he sent the ball to Saturn instead. Yes, he unfortunately missed from here, man. Mbappe had a bit of a nightmare match. Not a great tournament for him in general. Later getting in the way of Giroud's strike, but it did go to a shootout. To be fair to Mbappe, he was so close to scoring that incredible goal against Germany, but it was just offside. All the kicks were great, bar maybe Vargas, which just slipped in, and then Sommer saved Mbappe's to win the match for Switzerland. Massive, as Jimmy Conrad put it perfectly on Twitter, quote, Mbappe is going to receive a lot of abuse, all of it unfair, because giving up a 2-goal lead in the last 10 minutes is what is truly unacceptable. That applies to you as well, Spain. And it's absolutely true, isn't it? It's a coin flip when you get to the penalties. No, he didn't have a fantastic tournament, as he clearly looked fatigued at times, and his physicality is such a massive part of his game, so he loses that, and he's still typically good in tight areas, but it's not the Mbappe we know and love. But it wasn't Mbappe that lost it. It was the team that lost it, right? What a tournament this is. Netherlands out, Portugal out, France out. Incredible to watch. We have to give so much credit to the Swiss and the Czechs. The Belgians, I mean, I won't need to fight anyone there as far as giving them credit, but wow, yesterday was fun. And hey, we'll have a watch along today, hoping for further insanity. England versus Germany. Let's go. Please deliver. And if you enjoyed this video, then drop a like or subscribe if you're new. Other than that, see you in the next video. Take care.